Okay, we're on. So before starting, we will have to do what we're calling territory selection, meaning to select the territories that are more appealing for us. And the selection can be based on many parameters. For example, I can say I would like to penetrate to markets with a population larger than 10 million inhabitants. I'm looking for countries that have more than the average hospital beds available. I'm looking for poor countries. I'm looking for countries that are more cultural. Let's take the study that we mentioned in the previous conversation, which was the mezuzah, this article that we're using to bless the house. So we decided that the market will be the evangelical community. So I don't care about the rest of the US. I don't care about the rest of the world. I'm just focusing in one segment. So the division can be by territory, by segment. It can be one industry, one vertical, one a type of product. For example, I can sell some products to the institutional markets, meaning to the government. I can sell it to the corporate market. And I can sell it to the retail market, what we're calling B2G, B2B, and B2C. Business to government, business to business, and business to consumer. Okay? All of them are different business models, and each one of them is affecting the results of my business and the way that I'm doing business at all. So once we determine that, okay, we're going to be working on one market only, and in this market, meaning let's say the United States, and in this market we're going to focus into one market share, for example, evangelical communities. And we're going to narrow it also to 3 states. Let's say the tri-state area, mid-Atlantic. It can be in the south, it can be wherever we think we have the basic market. And then we're going to start digging into the market. At first, we will start with the so-called macroeconomic details. Quantity of people, space of land, GDP, gross domestic product, gross domestic product per capita, income of the people in the area that we're speaking about, and some generic area. Then we'll drill down to more specific, industry-specific details. For example, if I'm working in the automotive sector, I might be interested in to know how many vehicles we have per family. I might be interested in knowing how many miles of paved roads we have. And I might be interested to know if vehicles are running on diesel fuel or other types of fuel, and so on. If I'm working in the medical area, I would like to know how many doctors, how many physicians do you have per 100,000 inhabitants. I would like to know how many hospital beds we have available. If I'm working in education, I would like to know how the educational system is working. For example, in a country like Israel, we have one Ministry of Education, which is giving the instruction for the rest of the system. We have smaller systems in below. In a country like Brazil, there is the Federal Ministry of Education, and then each state have its own Secretary of Education. In the United States, we have a different structure, which are called, I think it's called school boards or something like that. I don't remember the name. And if in any country in the world we have a situation that in order for me to know how many licenses of my software I have to learn, I'm just counting the students. For example, if in your university you have 1,000 students, so I know that I can sell you 1,000 licenses.
Yeah.
But in the United States, it works differently. It works on something that they are calling ADA, average daily attendance. Meaning if 5% of the students are absent every day, so the ADA is 95, so I'm going to be selling only 950 licenses to this school. Okay, so I have to learn all this information beforehand, before even trying to penetrate to the market. So when I'm going to do this drill down, I'm going to be focusing in 4 basic areas. I'm doing it only in 4 areas because I would like to save my time. I would like to focus. I don't want to spend time on getting too much information that nobody's reading. I don't want to waste my time in sorting through this piles of information. So the 4 areas are major players, competitors, regulations, and barriers. I'm going to explain you a bit on each one of those. Starting with the main players. Who are the main players for us in each market? Those are the companies that are buying my stuff. They may be reselling it. They may be integrating it to another product. For example, if I'm selling, I don't know, educational software. So the educational software itself is not a product for the end user. Someone is taking it and integrating it to a larger software. For example, if my software is teaching math, it can be part of a suite of products that are teaching STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It can be part of a larger thing when it's implemented together with the LMS, the learning management system, and so on. It can be other suppliers of similar devices, of similar products. Maybe in this country they have a local production of the same product that I'm selling. For example, if I'm going to this mouse, I'm sure that in Brazil there are factories that can produce it cheaper than the Israeli made. So it's going to be no-brainer for me after a small study to say, hey, forget about Brazil. Brazil is not a market for you. So this is the main players. So the players are companies that are buying my stuff, that they are selling my stuff, that they're integrating my stuff, they're manufacturing my stuff, or something similar to it. The second one are the competitors. Competitors are companies that are selling products similar to mine, to the same target market, and they are sharing with me the same market share. Okay, the term market share is, are you familiar with it?
No.
Okay. Let's say that this is the full market. Okay? The market is, let's say this is the market for, I don't know, CD players. Okay? A product is going from out of the world. So if I'm going to be selling, if there are, let's say that there is one big player, one big competitor that is selling the 100% to the market. All this market is his. So in order for me to penetrate to his market, I have to steal part of his market share. If this is the 100% of the market and you have 100%, I'm going to bite a share of his. Think on it like a pizza. Like I'm trying to grab a slice of pizza for myself.
Yeah.
My slice is my market share. Okay?
Yeah.
So they don't want to share it with me, so they're going to be fighting back. Imagine yourself if I'm tomorrow manufacturing a chocolate like Hershey's. Same taste, same or more or less the same taste, segmenting to the same a market share to the same audience, the same ages, the same design, the same colors. They're going to be fighting me with me fiercely because I'm going to be killing them, especially if I can do it for a cheaper price. Okay, so part of it is to know and understand the market share of each competitor. So sometimes the competitors are fighting on different segments of the same market, and they're okay with that. For example, someone that is buying, I can decide that my next phone will be either Android or iOS. I can go for Apple or all the rest. So it's a very determined market, and there are not many shifts from one to another because the cost of change is a bit expensive. I have to change my device. Not all my applications are going to move smoothly from one platform to another. If I'm connected to one cable supplier, it's not very likely that I move to another one. If I'm working with one bank, it's not easy for me to move to another one. It's like Catholic marriage. But with other products, the cost of change is really slim. For example, I don't care if I'm refueling at Exxon or at Shell or any other gas station in the area. For me, McDonald's or Burger King are the same shit. I don't care which one of them. It's junk food anyway. So this is about market shares, okay? So I'm checking market shares. I remember the first one was the main players. Now we're not talking about the main players. We're talking about the competitors, the ones that are really fighting with us on the same the same pool, the same to fish the same fishes. Okay. The third one of the four were regulations. Regulations usually are being forced by the government. Some regulations are helpful for me. For example, many countries had in the last 10 years a regulation that obligated the drivers to carry in their cars those yellow vests from illuminated ugly color. Okay?
Yeah.
That was a regulation that was excellent for the manufacture of those vests. There is a new regulation now to equip new cars with a system to avoid collision with streetwalkers or with other cars. So this type of regulation is making good business for the one that is manufacturing those devices. But there are other regulations that are making our life harder. For example, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, is placing very harsh requirements on companies that would like to sell, let's say, COVID tests to the American market. It's not easy to get their permission. Why? Because they have to address other issues such as the health of the public, etc. So this is regulation. The fourth one is barriers. Barriers, it's not very self-explanatory. You know what a barrier is, but you don't know what it is in comparison to what we're speaking. A barrier are things that are disturbing me from addressing the market. Usually they are a custom and tax barriers, meaning if I'm going to sell Chinese car to the American market, there are high tariffs, high taxes on it. Why? Because the Americans don't want the Chinese to sell them cars. They prefer to protect the American brands. Okay? Any car that I'm buying from China, less people in Detroit or in the Tex-Mex corridor would have work. Okay, so some of those barriers are protective measurement for the local production, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. It's have its ways here and there. Other barriers are not pricing, but it's more regulatory, like we spoke before, but they're coming from other areas. For example, I try to help Costa Rica to export to Israel pineapple. The pineapple from Costa Rica are much better than the Israeli ones. And they found out that there were so many regulations on this stupid fruit that it made it impossible for us to import it to Israel. Because they wanted to protect the local production, they wanted to protect the share of a market that they gave to someone that was connected with the government. So no one else can sell it. Now, I'm taking at this stage any questions?
I'm still writing. I'm good though. I'm listening.
Okay. So before we move to the next stage, I wanted just to clarify with you that you understood what I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to repeat myself again. So we're starting with the strategic vision of a customer. I want to penetrate to America with my gadget, with my product, with my widget, whatever it is. Then we're starting the process with the site selection and telling him which segment should he go and which countries he shouldn't go. By the way, it's not always to go to the most sophisticated market. From time to time I'll tell him, listen, go to a market like Haiti because those guys are poor and it's the only French-speaking country in Latin America. And so even if we will fail in this market, nobody else will know about it. And since they are so poor, they are not so sophisticated as the American market, and they will accept all our fuck-ups and all our glitches and bugs in the product. Okay? So we will use Haiti as our beta site, for example, a place that will test the technology. We'll fix it as we go, and then when we'll have a more robust product, let's go to a country like, I don't know, Nicaragua or Panama, and if it will succeed, this is the time to go to the American market, okay? So this is part of our strategy. So we said that we're doing a site selection. We decided to go on several territories. On each one of those territories, we'll do the macroeconomic study, just from above, from 30,000 feet. We are going to see which market is more adequate for us by the size of the market, by other demographics, etc. And then we will drill down and do the in-depth study on each one of the markets that we're speaking, on the 4 elements. Main players, competitors, regulations, and barriers. Okay? Once we finish all that, we're going to take this information and we're going to combine it with what we have in the preliminary stage, which we learned about the company, products, values, etc. And from that, we are going to write a document. The document will be called something like a penetration strategy or a strategy how to enter to this country with this product. It's like a market research, okay? And this is going to be the results of the research, okay? So we're taking all this information and writing the document. The document will detail again all the information that we gathered about the company, its products, about the target markets, country 1, country 2, country 3. In each one of them we're going to have the 4 elements. Okay? And then we're going to build a penetration strategy or recommendation for a penetration strategy for each one of the markets. For example, we're going to say for large countries like Brazil and Mexico, we're going to be looking for a partner that will be our subsidiary in the country. For a mid-sized country like Colombia, Peru, and Chile, let's go for a rep that will have limited marketing rights on those countries. On the smallest countries like El Salvador, Dominican Republic, Panama, Costa Rica, etc., we're going to have only an agent that will have no marketing rights whatsoever. He will not be able to represent us as an official representative. What he sells is going to make a markup above us. For each one of those strategies, we're going to be developing an idea. We can go and do a drill down at this stage and say something like, due to the COVID, we think that the best way at this time of the year is to go for 80% online sales and only 20% of face-to-face or store sales. In order to do that, we have to build a different marketing plan only for the online. Are we going to go with Amazon, with Etsy, with eBay, or other provider? Are we going to do our independent store or work with affiliates? What's going to be the pricing policy on each one of those? So it's becoming more and more complex, and this is part of what we're doing in our research. Now, as a researcher, as an competitive intelligence officer, usually your job is to gather the information, to collect it, to analyze it, and then around it, tell a story. The art of storytelling, if you're familiar with the term. It's like your script for each one of your movies, okay? So this story, combined with numbers, is going to serve as the basis for your customer to take decisions about this market. Because then you see, hey, in order to penetrate to the US market, I need $300,000 for the first year. That's a lot of money for me. So maybe I will neglect the American market, and in the first year, let's go for the Canadian market, which is easier to penetrate, for example. Okay, or in the American market, let's go for the heavily populated areas, such as the East Coast, and so on. So you have to take your decision according to, or to base your decision according to the data that you're collecting in this market study. Okay. Questions?
No.
No. Okay. So what we covered so far is about how to do a market research. Okay. I recommend you to. I think I have an English session on competitive intelligence in the web. Have you seen it?
I don't think I have, no.
No? Let me see if I have one. 1 minute. Because if I do it in English, I have one in English, it can be very helpful for you.
Yeah, I would love to read it.
I sent you the my books, right? Among the document, the customer-oriented entrepreneur. Did you have it?
Wait, I'm trying to check right now.
Okay.
I don't see the books in the email.
No? Okay, so I'm going it describes quite clearly what we're talking about. No, I don't see that I have anyone in English about it. This is in Hebrew. This is in Hebrew. Oh yeah, I have. How? Let me see if that one is in English or Spanish. I don't know.
Okay, you are in person.
To follow up because every morning to give you a brief, we're starting.
Okay. Thank you.
Of things that are of interest, new technologies I want.
If somebody's found as infected, you don't have to close the whole
as well. So I think that we're in the way out. Some of the countries, the government, I think that we met fans. Would you like to share it with the...
No, I see this one is just networking. No, I don't have it. So, never mind. Next session, I will connect with you via a screen share and we'll be able to see it. I don't want to waste all your time on that. Okay, so we're right on time. If you have any questions or anything you wanted to know from me?
I think, would you be able to send me the names of the videos that you want me to
okay.
like,
Okay, I will.
to edit so I can edit them?
Write it down before I forget. So I owe you the following. One is the book, 2 video chapters. The idea is that in this lecture that we're talking about, I'm speaking a lot about Startup Nation and all this stuff. So the idea is to have some short movies that will describe what I know. And this is going to be part of a business plan that I'm working on, okay?
Okay.
So we have another session on Thursday, right? Or on Wednesday? When is this? Let's see.
It was
Wednesday.
But I can do Thursday too.
No, Thursday at this time I'm you know what? No, it might work, yeah. Because we moved the session. You prefer to do it on Thursday?
I can do Thursday.
What is your
Or
preference?
whatever.
What is your preference?
I guess. Could we do Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Wednesday same time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we are not, you know what? I'm going to send you a link to a Google Meet, and I think it will work that way better. So same time on Wednesday. Remember, we're going to start by a session about you. Okay?
Oh yeah.
So think about what you achieved in life, what you would like to achieve, what are your main obstacles, what are your dreams, and let's see how can help you make it true.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Great.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. We're going to be starting working and to start working step by step. It will take some time, but we're going to be there.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Big hug from
Thank you.
Israel. You're welcome. My
Bye.
pleasure. Bye bye.
All right.